Welcome to Something to Talk About. I think this is coming out Christmas Eve. And what does that mean? Well, what did I get you guys for Christmas? Frey Week! If my calculations are correct, this is coming out the Tuesday before Christmas, which is Christmas is Wednesday. I do have a video coming out Wednesday. And for this Frey Week, I got you 3 Walders. Right? Not 3 Walder Freys, but 3 Walders. Today we have a Big Walder Frey, son of Jammos. And also, this is kind of a video for Little Walder because they're always together. But this is going to be more from the point of view of Big Walder Frey. And this is also a video, and then also next week, or this week, oh my God, just starting. All right. I'm covering Walder Rivers on Friday, and then Saturday, Black Walder Frey. Yes, I'm excited. I'm taking the character that they shoved together and made a completely different character from the show, Black Walder Rivers, and I'm taking them apart, mitosis, and I'm covering Walder Rivers and Black Walder Frey in their own videos. And yeah, but that's not what we're doing. We're talking Big Walder. We're talking about Biggie Walds. That's right, good old Biggie Walds. If you don't know what this is, what's going on, this is it. Possible spoilers. Well, there will be spoilers for the book. This goes all the way into Dance of Dragons. Black Walder does, or Big Walder does. Too many Walders. This is Biggie. Biggie Walder doesn't go all the way through the book, so keep that in mind. I don't want to spoil anything for people who don't want that to happen. I'm doing good. How are you? I think I always have anxiety during Frey Week. I think I'm always like, anytime I do Frey videos, I'm like, oh my God, so much Freys. Okay, this is my 3rd Frey Week. Holy shamola. I did 2 this year, and I think I'm just going to do 1 a year going forth. So, all right, enough talking talky. Let's talk Big Waldy. All right, Walder Frey, nicknamed Big Walder, is the son of Jammos Frey and Sallei Paege. Although Big Walder is a foot shorter than his cousin Little Walder, he is 52 days older. So that's why he's called Big Walder, because he's older. And he's small and skinny and fox-faced. His face looks like a fox. The astute Big Walder is more cautious and less mean than his cousin Little Walder. Yeah, Little Walder's kind of more of a jerk. I don't think Big Walder's not a jerk. I think he's just a little more calm, collected, and cunning. And Little Walder comes off a lot more cruel. We'll get to that more later, not more on. All right, Big Walder wears a lamb's wool doublet that is silver gray with a dark blue trim. His armor, he's got armor, is fine silver plate with a nimbled. You guys know what word that is. I just can't read. With blue chasings. His crest is shaped like a castle, and he rides a dapple gray coursier. All right, and then his personal coat of arms is depicted on his shield and surcoat. It's quartered, right, with the House of Frey, right, and then the Raven of House Blackwood, and then the Twin Snakes of House Paege. That's his mama. So yeah, his mama's in one corner, his grandmama is in the other corner, and then double Frey. So yeah, so let's talk about House Frey. Oh man, House Frey, the Crossing, is a noble house of the Riverlands. Their main seat is the Twins. It's a pair of castle on each bank of the northern Green Fork of the Trident that serves as a vital bridge crossing the river. The Lord of the house is called the Lord of the Crossing. The sigil is 2 blue towers united by a bridge on silver gray, representing the Twins. Yeah, here you guys go. Oh, Frey Week. Okay, let's go, Mark. Okay, come on, keep it together. Keep it together. All right, agreement at the Twins. We're going to talk about this a couple times this week. Walder is present at the Twins when Catelyn Stark comes to treat with Lord Walder Frey. Not to be confused with any of the other Walders. This is Old Man Walder. I usually call him Old Walder. After meeting the 90-year-old Walder Frey, Catelyn returns to Robb with the agreed on terms. She is followed by Jared Frey and Hostine Frey, who I've covered, Danwell Frey, Ronald Frey, and a long column of pikemen. not Pikeman. She tells Robb that he has been granted the crossing and that all but 400 of Lord Frey's forces will join his army. In exchange, 2 of Lord Walder's grandsons, Big and Little Walder Frey, will be fostered by the Starks. That's the guy we're talking about, right? Big Walder. And then all of our Frey will become Robb Squire. I did a video on him. And Arya will marry Walder's youngest son, Elmar. That's cool. And Robb himself will marry his choice of Walder's daughters when the fighting is done. Robb, realizing he has no choice, and because he wants to cross, he consent. Yeah, he says, yeah, sure, he consents. Catelyn suggests that he should leave 400 archers and swordsmen at the Twins to ensure Lord Walder keeps faith under the reliable men, and Robb suggests Sir Helman Tallheart, and Catelyn agrees. All right. That's the agreement at the phrase. Why did I bring that up? Because Big Walder is part of that. He's getting sent to Winterfell to foster, technically under Catelyn, although Catelyn will never be there. Oh, no, spoilers. Ooh. All right. Fostered at Winterfell. Big Walder and his cousin Little Walder are sent to Winterfell to become the wards of Catelyn Stark. They are tutored by Maester Luwin. One day, Bran was sitting in a stone window watching Winterfell when he started howling at the moon. That's something that happened. Maester Luwin came in to talk to him. Luwin tells Bran to go play with the other children. But Bran snapped that he hates the other children, thinking about the Walders specifically. Yeah, he doesn't like the Walders. Bran claims that he commanded Luwin to send them away, which Luwin said that the Walders are his lady mother's wards. Yeah, he's like, dude, I don't want to go play with the Walders. I already told you to get rid of them. He's like, we can't get rid of them. Bran, what are you thinking? He's like, I don't even like them. All right. So where was I? Yeah, Bran blames the Walders for Summer being taken away from him, but Luwin claims that the Frey boy didn't wish to be attacked. So Bran protests that was the Wilder Shaggy Doc, not Summer. Bran says that they should put the Walders in the Godswood, not the Direwolves. Yeah, so the Direwolves are locked up in the Godswood because Shaggy Dog bit one of the Freys. We'll get to it, right? Eventually, Bran just howls at Luwin until he leaves. Yeah, he just turns until he leaves. That is actually how I solve all arguments, especially with people who are my elder, right? And even like wiser people who know more than I do. I usually just howl at them until they leave. It's a good tactic. Good tactic. Won the debate team. All right. Where was I? All right. Yeah, he just howls at them until he leaves. Then he thinks back on when the Walders arrive. Rickon didn't like them at first, because he's just a 4-year-old and he wanted his family, not some Freys. And Bran welcomed them warmly. This was before they played Lord of the Crossing. So let's talk about Lord of the Crossing, because this game's rather important, right? All right, Lord of the Crossing. The game must be played on some sort of a bridge placed over water of some sort, any water, right? One player, the quote Lord of the Crossing, stands in the middle of the bridge with a staff. When another player approaches, the Lord of the Crossing must say, I am the Lord of the Crossing, who goes there? The player who approaches must then present his reasons for crossing the bridge and why he should be allowed to cross. The Lord asks the player questions, and he makes them swear oaths. The player does not have to respond truthfully to these questions, but the oaths are binding unless the player says mayhaps, quickly enough that the Lord does not notice. Then the player must attempt to knock the Lord off the bridge. The Lord can knock the player into the water at any time, and he's the only one who is armed with the staff. This is a game of cunning and wit, but when the Walders play it, it just looks like a game of shoving each other. Yeah, they're not. It just devolves right away. De-evolves. There we go. Big and Little Walder explain who their families are. Big being the son of Jammos, and Little being the son of Merritt. If you guys aren't remembering where we're at, this is the day that the Walders showed up. So it's like a Tarantino flashback, right? He talks to Lewin, he howls at Lewin, and then after Lewin leaves, he remembers this day. So that's what's going on right now. Little claims that neither will be Lord of the Crossing, but Big declares that he will. And then he goes on to explain who the other Walders are, right? The ones we're covering the rest of this week. The Walders stay in Jon Snow's old bedchamber. Yeah, I'm going to stop right there and say that's really important, right? They're both super far down the line of the Freys because there's freaking 157 Freys. And, right? And he's like, Little Walder's like, yeah, but none of us will ever be Lord. And Big Walder's like, yeah, speak for yourself. I will. And I think he really believes that. I think that this little Blackwood has aspirations. Yeah, and he's rather cunning. So, yeah, the Walders stay in Jon Snow's old bedchamber. The games Lord of the Crossing attract other kids from all over the castle until Rickon played and Little Walder smacked him, causing Shaggy Dog to attack him. So he gets hit. Rickon, who's 4, gets hit with the staff, and that makes Shaggy Dog like, no way. Arr! And that's why the dogs are, not the dogs, the wolves, the dire wolves are locked up in the Godswood. Oddly, after that, Rickon started to like the Walders, which is weird because he didn't like them until he gets hit in the face by one of them. That's hardcore, Rickon. Little Rickon. They played Monsters and Maidens, Rats and Cats, Come Into My Castle, and even more Lord of the Crossing. With Rickon on their side, they raided the kitchens for pies, and they race around and trained with swords. Rickon takes the Walders to the crypts, and this pisses off Bran, and Bran says that that's a Stark place. So that's why Bran doesn't like them. It first started off with Bran being nice to them and Rickon not liking them because Rickon wants his family, not some praise. And then after Rickon gets hit with the staff and Shaggy Dog bites them and the dogs get locked up, Rickon tends to then start to like them and they become like a little gang. But after he takes them to the crypts, that really pisses Bran off. And he's like, you can't take them to the crypts. That's Stark land. Like, that's Stark place. Okay, what are you thinking? So, yeah. Just a little update for you guys. The Harvest Feast. Winterfell is full of guests for the Harvest Feast. And Bran must play the prince. Out in the yard, Bran watches the Walders jousting against Quintains. Bran notes that Little Walder strikes harder, but Big Walder sat his horse bigger or better. So you guys remember we're talking about Big Walder in this video? I should remind a couple times. This is a Big Walder video, not a Little Walder video. And Big Walder is the smaller Walder, even though he's 52 days older than Little Walder. Got that? Everybody got that? Oh, God, why did George have to make this so confusing? The Walders insult Hodor. What? And Little Walder begins to bump him with his horse. That's mean. Bran grows angrier and threatens to sick Summer on them. Bran, calm down. But Little Walder points out that he is wearing armor and says that he wants a wolfskin cloak. That's messed up, Little Walder. Then Maester Lewin arrives to break up the argument and chastise the Walders. Big Walder has the grace to look ashamed, but Little Walder remains haughty. Lewin reminds them that the good Lord protects the weak and warns them to stay out of the Godswood because those wolves will probably mess you up. And then he calls on to Bran to go meet with Lord Wyman Manderly, right? We're not talking about that, but yeah. During the feast, they feast on a course after course, including seafood brought by Lord Manderly, right? Wyman Manderly. Manderly also has also brought musicians, but only Hodor seems to be listening to the songs that are being drowned beneath the talk and the laughter. Yeah, no one else is really listening to the music, but Hodor's rocking out. Sir Roderick and Maester Lewin talk over Beth's head, Beth Cassell. Well, Rickon screams happily with the Little and Big Walder. Bran did not want the Walders at the high table, but Maester Lewin reminded him that they would become kin one day when Robb weds a Frey and Arya marries their uncle Elmar. Okay, yeah, that's going to happen. But Bran argued Arya would never stand for that. That's not ever going to happen. See, told you, even Bran knows. Each dish is served to Brandon first, and soon as he is full, he must nod in approval rather than taste everything as instructed. He sends particularly delicious dishes to lords as a gesture of friendship. He sends beets and turnips to the Walders because Sir Roderick insists he gives them something. Yeah, it's like this cool little tradition that they got going on where he gets his meal first, right? And then he's full, he's got his food. And then instead of everybody getting dishes, they bring cool other dishes, and Bran turns them down and assigns them to different people, right? Like different High Lords. I don't know. I thought that was actually kind of cool. And then he's like, it's like, oh man, who would really like a rare steak? That guy, like, I don't know. I thought that was a fun little tradition, right? Unless I completely misunderstood it. Death in the family. In the middle of the harvest feast at Winterfell, Meera and her brother Jojen arrive. I just had to bring up the Jojen and Meera show up. They're not very big in this. If this was a Little Walder video, I would probably bring up how he makes fun of them, but Big Walder it doesn't. But I just wanted to bring them up. I think them showing up is important. So Little Walder dislikes the Reed siblings. See, I told you. Meera and Jojen consider he considers the Craddock men frog eaters and mudmen. I guess I did leave it in. One day, Bran gets a letter from Robb saying that he shattered a Lannister army at the Battle of Oxcross, killing the commander, Sir Stafford Lannister. Rickon asks if Robb will be coming home, but Bran knows that only Lord Tywin matters, and as Big Walder states, which concerns him. So yeah, that's true. So I kind of like that Big Walder knows. It's like, oh, he crushed their army at the Battle of Oxcross. They won a big battle, and Stafford Lannister's gone. Does that mean that he's going to win? And even Big Walder's like, no. The only thing that matters is beating Tywin. Like, with Tywin still kicking, you're never going to win. And he ain't wrong. So, yeah. All right. If only Tywin will die. He does later. All right. So, where was I? Neither Big nor Little Walder seem upset about their uncle Sir Stevrin Frey's death, who died 3 days after the battle, who they note was very old, being 50 or 60, and always tired. Little Walder asks if Sir Emmon Frey is now the heir, and Biggie tells him that the line of accession. Sir Ryman Edwin, Black Walder, who we'll talk about later, and Peter Pimple, who I already talked about, and then Aegon Frey and his sons. Little Walder states that Ryman is too old, and then asks if he thinks that he will be Lord, and Big Walder responds that he will be Lord and does not care. The Maester tells them that they should be ashamed. Yeah, they're like just kind of talking about these people like they're not family. And I get that they have a huge family, but they're like, oh no, Stefan died. All right, so where does that leave the succession? They don't really give a crap. They just want to know if it's closer to them. That's all that matters, right? These are little kids, dude. All right. Yeah. I really like that scene. All right, moving on. And the fall of Winterfell. Yeah, the Frey cousins are taken captive by Theon Greyjoy when he leads his Ironborn in capturing Winterfell. Then Theon Greyjoy discovers that Bran Rickon have gone missing from Winterfell with their direwolves, the wildling woman, I can't talk right now, wildling woman Osha, Hodor, and the two Reeds, Meera and Jojen. One of the cousins, one of these guys volunteers for Theon's party and searches the Wolveswood for them, although Theon does not identify which one. The boy's diction is similar to Little Walder's. Yeah, that's only brought up because like the Rickon and Bran escape after Theon takes over, and part of the group is one of the Frey boys, right? And then he talks and we see him, but Theon never identifies which one. But I'm just saying it's most likely Little Walder as the one who helped. Yeah. As Winterfell is being besieged, right? Theon Greyjoy declines at Maester Lewin's suggestion of yielding. Theon parleys with Roderick Castle, Sir Roderick Cassell, not Castle, Cassell, using Roderick's daughter Beth as a hostage. Theon knows that the host will attack regardless of his threat of Beth, and considers Lewin's suggestion of requesting taking the Black until he is informed that the Northmen are fighting among each other. So other Northmen come out. The newly arrived men from the Dreadfort unexpectedly attack Roderick's host. What? And Theon is shocked to discover that they are being led by Reek. Yeah, somebody who he thought was Reek, who reveals himself actually to be Ramsay Snow. Ramsay knocks Theon to the ground and orders Winterfell to be burned. The Freys are spared by Ramsay Snow during the sack of Winterfell. A letter written by Big Walder is signed by both Frey cousins and is sent to the twins, claiming Theon burned Winterfell. Lame, not just lame. Lame Luther Frey, who's a guy, conveys this false report to Robb Stark, now King in the North. Yeah, that was a lot. Okay, Theon takes over. Reek, who is Ramsay Bolton, Ramsay Snow, betrays him, burns Winterfell to the ground, and then makes the Freys write a letter saying Theon did it. That's what I'm talking about. All right, moving on. Ramsay's squire. So what just happened there was these guys were Bran POV characters, and now they're Theon POV characters. That's what happened in that last slide. It's hard to notice, but that's what happened. Ramsay's squires. Big Walder becomes squire to Ramsay, along with Big and Little Walder enter the cell. Yeah, both Walders are squire of Ramsay. They enter a cell in the dungeons of the Dreadfort. Cowering before them is a weak, foul-smelling Theon, who they now call Reek. Yeah, this guy's Reek now. Yeah, the Reek now. Little Walder had become Lord Ramsay's best boy and grew more like him every day. Yuck. But the smaller Frey was made of different stuff and seldom took part in his cousin's games and cruelties. Yeah, Big Walder's not really digging it. He's not looking up to Ramsay because he knows Ramsay's awful. The Frey boys bring Reek before Ramsay, who is with Arnoff Kaulstark and Hothor Umber. Ramsay taunts him in front of the guests, and the Walders are with Ramsay when they siege Mount Caelan to lift the Ironborn control of the ancient castle. Yeah, so they're Ramsay guys now, right? That's what I'm getting at. They go and get Theon, who's Reek, out of the dungeon, and a bunch of people are there, and then eventually when Theon is actually sent to impersonate himself, crazy, lift the siege of Mount Caelan, these guys are with. So Lady Barbary Dustin gives gray colts to Big and Little Walder when they join Ramsay in searching for missing Freys near Barrowtown. Yeah, those pie Freys. Big Walder is disturbed seeing Ramsay and is apprehensive when he sees Little Walder become more and more like Ramsay. Yeah, like I already said, Big Walder does not like his bigger cousin, Little Walder, kind of buddying up with Ramsay Bolton because he knows he's awful. Big Walder rarely takes part in his cousin's, I already said that, games and cruelties. When the feast is held by Harwood Stout, Little Walder pours wine for Ramsay and Big Walder for the other guests. Big Walder attends the wedding of Ramsay and Arya Stark, who is, of course, Jane Poole, in the Godswood of Winterfell, and the myths make the boy resemble a fox to Theon. Yeah, he's a fox. There's like fox symbolism, right? He's fox-like, which are like clever, right? Clever like a fox. Yeah, and the other Freys are very weasel-like. So you can kind of see a lot of them. I haven't discussed that, but a lot of Freys kind of have weasel qualities. He's got fox qualities. Yeah, that's important. That's, yes, right? It's symbolically important. It's importantly symbolic. Murder in the snow. This is what we're all here for. The Boltons are stuck in Winterfell with the uneasy company of the Freys and the Manderleys. The Storm and Stannis keep the army in the castle. They keep everybody inside Winterfell. Tensions heightened during the blizzard as many are found dead. Yeah, there's a murderer. Yeah. A Riswell man-at-arms, Annie's Frey's squire, a flint crossbowman, and a Yellow Dick are all killed, right? They're all the victims of this murderer or murderers. We're not sure which. One night, the hall goes silent as Hostine Frey walks in carrying Little Walder's body. Yes. So, of course, Little Walder being the big one, not the one we're talking about. I hope you guys are following. With frozen pink snow on him, like bloody snow, Big Walder follows, and his chest, arms, and cloak are splattered in blood. When Roose asks where the body was found, Big answers, under the ruined keep, my lord, the one with the old gargoyles. His gloves were caked in blood. And then he says, I told him not to go out alone, but he said he had to find the man who owed him silver. Ramsay Bolton demands to know which man could have, so he can have him flayed, right? But Big says he does not know, just that he won at playing dice. So, yeah, I'm saying all this really fast. So Hostine comes in holding the bigger Frey, known as Little Frey, the bigger cousin, but the younger cousin, right? And Big Walder is following, kind of covered in blood, like splattered in blood, which is suspicious. I'll explain that later. We'll get to that. But yeah, and then when Ramsay's like, who? Because I don't know, somebody plays dice, and Ramsay was like taking Little Walder under his wing. So I don't know if Ramsay has any compassion at all. He kind of acts like it here, though. He does kind of act like, who killed my? I like that one. Like, I don't really like a lot of people, but I liked him. So yeah, he probably is just mad because he lost another lackey. But I don't know. Maybe he's got compassion. Probably not. Okay. Where was I? Hostine claims that it was Wyman Manderley who ordered the Frey's death. Yeah, Hostine goes for it. He's like, it was probably Wyman. Wyman is eating a sausage and he denies it. And then he says that this might be a blessing in disguise because he would have grown up to be a Frey. Okay, there's a lot of cold-blooded things said in these books. Wyman Manderley saying that is still one of the ones that gives me the most chills because the way they paint it. So I just listened to all these chapters to make this video, and I love this because he's eating sausage. Like, he doesn't care. He's just eating, right? He's not in any way concerned about this dead, kid. And he's just like, I don't know. He would have grown up to be a Frey. Did him a favor. Like, oh, I don't like Hostine. I mean, if I have to choose which ones I like more, I like Wyman, the cannibal, more than Hostine Frey, who I've done a video for Hostine, by the way. But yeah, I understand why Hostine then's like, you know what? So what does he do? Well, this causes an uproar, and Hostine whips his sword out and cuts through Wyman's chins. Roose calls for the madness to stop, but then many men have died in the fighting. Yeah, so it goes nuts, and a lot of people die. Roose sees they want blood and sends them out to fight Stannis. Whoo! There you guys go. Now we are caught up. That's everything we know. I got one more slide with a bunch of stuff on it. But yeah, that's everything we know about Big Walder. And yeah, whoo, it's not. I love that chapter with the dead Frey. It's nuts. Is he a killer? So first off, there are many videos about Big and Little Walders, right? And just Freys in general, of course, right? There's plenty of Frey videos. Not to mention about the murders in Winterfell. There's a lot on that too. So yeah, there's a lot. So if you want to do some reading, I suggest you check out the Reddit post by Dr. Gruesletez, I don't know, called Solving the Winterfell Murders One by One. It's 8 years old, but it is a good breakdown of every murder. I don't know if I really agree with all the conclusions, but it is, if you want to kind of have like a good placement of all the murders, it's pretty good. But if you want a video on the murders as a whole, the Alt-Shift-X video that if you're watching me, you've probably watched every Alt-Shift-X video. The hooded man who is the ghost in Winterfell, he breaks down every murder there as well. That is a great video. Now, if you want a breakdown of who killed Little Walder himself specifically, Preston Jacobs' Frey in the Snow video series is super good. And probably because I love that Preston Jacobs video series, yes, of course, he's wrong about half the stuff, right? But I am in the camp of thinking that Big Walder actually did kill Little Walder. The blood splatter makes me think that he did the killing, not just did the finding, right? And that's it. That's the camp I believe. I do think that the guy who we're talking about, Big Walder, is the murderer of his slightly younger cousin, Little Walder, because he is splattered, right? He didn't just find the kid. Also, he's not even holding him, right? Hostein's holding him. He seems frozen. There's snow on him, so snow must have landed on him and soak up the blood. Why would just finding him get blood splatter specifically on him, right? And also with the hands caked with blood. I kind of think that it's possible, at least, that Big Walder is seeing all these people die, and then he's like, wow, I have a chance to get rid of Little Walder. Yeah. So, anyways, that's just my opinion, and I'm wrong, probably. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that Big Walder actually kills Little Walder? What do you think of Big Walder? Is he your favorite Walder Frey? He's mine. Yeah, I think it's safe to say I like Big Walder more than I like Black Walder, Walder Rivers, Red Walder, or Old Walder, or Little Walder. I think that Big Walder is my favorite Walder Frey. That's all I got, guys. Thank you, and I will be sure to put the Preston Jacobs and the Alt-Shift-X videos in the description. So, yeah, let's get it. Merry Christmas for tomorrow. Happy holidays. Frey week, dude. Let's do it. Peace.